show you what that is. So vim cfg, oh no, it's not that one, it's ifcfg enp. Okay, so you see this net mask that I am selecting now, and you've seen the /24 there back in that file. Hold on, let me just show you one more time so you know exactly what I'm talking about. You have /24 here, and then in this configuration file you have 255.255.255.0. Well, this is exactly the same on most devices anyway, in most places anyway, as me typing in, come on, no, I need insert, as me typing in /24. /24 represents well, maybe not the most correct of statements, but sufficient for this tutorial. /24 would basically represent 255, 255, 255, 0. You have different prefixes. Here you can write 32, and then this mask down below would be different. I'm not sure which one would it be. I think it would be 252 or something of a kind, but don't hold my word to it. There is a good deal of math behind this that you do need to perform some calculations there in order to figure it out, but I'm just giving you an example so that you know what it actually means. You won't have to bother much or at all with it during the Red Hat Certified System Administrator exam. Okay, so let's go ahead and quit this file because I am honestly not going to alter it any further. I'll just go ahead and quit it. So you see that the interface configuration did survive the interface, us bringing the interface down and up and restarting the network manager as well. Not sure if I actually brought them down and up. Actually, we can just go ahead in case I failed to do this, but interface, everything has been restarted by the network manager anyway. We can just go ahead and type in one of these commands, so nm CLI connection down, ups, down, and now we will need it to go up. So we are stating network manager client a command line interface connection. We're stating the status up or down, and then we're stating the interface. So up, and please give me the IP-ADDR show. You can see that the same IP address is valid. Again, it stands there. So whatever you do in that file is going to be permanent configuration that will survive interface restarts. So no worries there. Anyway, I am running a bit short on time here, so I will bid you all farewell until next tutorial where we shall deal further with this. Welcome all to this tutorial. Today I will primarily focus on the network manager. So there is a way of creating new interfaces, new connections would be a precise way of saying it. There's a way of creating new connections and interfaces as well via the network manager command line interface. Basically you type in nmcli and then you type in a rather lengthy command that you can see in the help menu that there are a lot of options here, but this is not something you want to do. I mean, it's fairly complicated, and if you are doing this during the time of the exam, you are bound to make errors here. I don't know that many people who use this command directly like this to create new connections. Rather, instead what they use is nmdui, and there you go. You get a terminal user interface where you can actually mess around with things. So you can set a system host name, you can activate a certain connection, or you can go ahead and edit the connection. So now we have emp0s3, but we can also play around with it and say, hey, we would like to add a new one. Oh, by the way, you press tab to move about, to switch from one menu to the next, and then you have arrows to move within a menu. So we can edit the current one, we can delete the current one, or we can add a new one. Let's go ahead and click on edit. You can see that we have a certain settings here. So we have the profile name, we have the device MAC address here. MAC address is the physical hardware address that is pretty much imprinted and burnt into every piece of every network card out there. Every and each network card has one, and they are unique. Down below you have addresses where we have replaced our own address, basically just some random address 10.10.10.0/24, and then we didn't add a gateway. The gateway would be the point of exit where we could access the net, or some computer that has access to some other computer that has access to the internet, or a router, which is a more common case. Down below we have entered two separate DNS servers, so we can feel free to actually go into this file and to configure things here. So I'm just going to go ahead and press OK. We can also say add, and then we can add a new connection here. So look at the type of connections that we have here. Well, what do we really need? Okay, so I use a DSL connection, so I could actually create a DSL here. Well, I don't use it like this, but I think I used to use it a while ago in this apartment anyway, where you had to type in username and password. Rarely anybody uses this today, but some people do. So you could basically configure your connection through this place by typing in the username and password that your internet service provider has given to you, and that would be fairly easy. So we have Ethernet, so you can just say show, and then you have some of the things here that you can type in as well. I'm just gonna scroll down to the bottom, as this is not really that interesting, primarily because it's rather easy to set up. I mean, you don't really need to set up most of these things. The primary thing is the username and password, without which you will not be able to log in. The rest is pretty much provided by your internet service provider as well. Anyway, now that you know how to edit, or well, just to delete it, you would just click on delete, and add would just create another one next to ENP0S3, another connection. So to say, it would be fairly easy to create. Do try it to do it yourselves. If you fail, go ahead and just address me in the discussion section. Feel free to bombard me with questions. I am quite frequently around and more than happy to answer any inquiries that you might have. Anyway, let's go ahead and quit this. I'm just going to go ahead and clear the screen. So clear. And now I would like to talk a bit about some of the tools that we won't use them personally, but that can be of great use to you. You can download them from the net, or you can get them from the official repositories. It is not that difficult. You just need to use Yum to search for them and to install them. No big deal. And in such a way you will be able to install them. But before, just one moment before we actually do that, there is another network manager configuration that you can go ahead and edit. There is network settings in the GUI, which is not the best way to go about things. Why? Well, you won't have GUI always, let's put it so. This is your current connection, so wired is 1000 megabits per second. Wow. IPv4 address, it's 10.10.10.0. IPv6 address, which is not that interesting to us, primarily because it is not that well used. Down below we have the hardware address and the two DNS servers below. So even here we can mess around with settings and have some fun. So basically you can just go ahead and click here, and then you can change certain information as well. Whatever you would like, you can pretty much change or add here pretty much the same configuration file as you have in your NMTY tool. Now we have some other network commands which we can go ahead and test out in order to confirm connections or something of a kind. First of all, we have ping. So if I type in ping google.com, it's going to say unknown host. Why will it say unknown host? Well, because my connection is messed up, and I need to actually go ahead and change the IP settings there in order for this to actually work. So let's go ahead and delete those setting